The Seattle Seahawks continue to be active through the first week of free agency. It is not break the bank, big splash signings across the board, but the team is looking for value, good value at that, and they're making some smart signings. That continues today with the addition of Tyrel Dodson, the Bills linebacker, who last year was rated the number one player by PFF of any linebacker on the inside, Mike or Will, that you would find in the entire NFL. That's right, number one to him over anybody else. And it's interesting, especially when you look at the fact that he was really, truly getting his first chance to go out there and be a starter for the first time last year. It's been a bit of a tough road here for Dodson. He's had to earn his way. He was a player looked at as being pretty talented coming out of college, but a guy that just kind of dipped out of the draft, maybe a little undersized, maybe not type the length that the teams were looking for, maybe not quite fast enough in the times that he tested on. But he went to the Buffalo Bills and found himself, after having a hard time of just getting to the NFL, then he was stacked on the depth chart behind two really good linebackers in Tremaine Edmunds and Matt Milano. Now Edmunds, after a couple of years, finally goes along in free agency last offseason to the Chicago Bears. And then Matt Milano, unfortunately, suffers a midseason injury. Unfortunate for Matt, fortunate for Tyrel Dodson, who was then able to take advantage and fill in for Milano and had this exceptional season as how he was graded. And what's interesting about it is that not only does he have this good season, but the Buffalo Bills, despite losing some of these very key players like Milano, Tre'Davious White, or Daquan Jones, still were able to be a very good defense throughout the course of the season. They ended up fourth in the NFL in scoring defense. So still a fantastic job by that crew overall, meaning that productivity wasn't just happening on its own while the defense was sucking. He was a part of what was helping that defense to play really, really good football despite losing so many starters as they did. He shows on tape that he's a very complete player. He can tackle, he can run, he can play really well in coverage. It all shows up across the board. He is definitely rangy from the will linebacker position. He is not a Mike. He is not a middle linebacker, but he is a will linebacker. And what really stands out with him in coverage and why I think he was so highly graded in coverage is his ability to drop back there in zone and really have a feel for players entering his zone, how to pick him up, the timing of it, how to be in on the details quickly and not get fooled by like misdirection. Another thing that really stood out early on here looking at the tape with him is that we've had linebackers like Cody Barton's or even Jordan Brooks's at times who would get attacked by guys like Sean McVay with flood zone concepts, where you run one receiver into a guy at linebacker zone, he picks that receiver up in coverage, but then he carries that receiver out of his zone of coverage. You know, you've got a circle of coverage you got to cover, you pick him up, but then you leave your zone. They run another player right behind that other receiver, and then he's wide open because your linebacker has left the zone. What you see with Tyrel is he will pick the first player up into his zone, and as he's on the edge of leaving his zone, pass that receiver off to another defender, and then pick up the new player entering into his zone. So he's got a lot of acumen in his ability to pick up who, when, and just the timing of it. It's kind of a feel thing. It's just like a man coverage thing. You've either got that feel for it or you don't. And in Mike McDonald's defense, of course, you are going to play a lot of zone concepts along with a little bit of mixture of man coverage. So this guy can do a little bit of everything. He's just gotten his first opportunity. He's still a very young player. And I don't think that he's going to be necessarily a guy going forward that's going to be your most highly rated linebacker in the entire sport. But it's still something that he can definitely build upon. And the Seahawks might have just, for what I'm guessing is going to be a very low cost, got themselves a starter as we go forward who's got a little upside, who is young, and who's definitely a pure fit for this defense. So I know these signings are not the most sexiest of signings across the board for Seahawks fans and that many people are looking for that big splash, but there's value to be had in these guys, and you can understand what the Seattle Seahawks are thinking. You're going to spend a lot less of a price on a guy like Dodson than you would have had to spend for Jordan Brooks, not to mention the extra years of commitment it would have taken in addition. And I think very well you're looking at Dodson giving you a much better season in overall play than what you would have gotten from Jordan Brooks. Time will tell, but in my opinion, this looks like at the first sniff, a great value signing and just more of the same in what they've done this past week, the Seattle Seahawks and John Schneider. My name is Brandon Kane. This is the Hawks Nest. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. But beyond all that, don't you ever forget, go Hawks.